This is a very long chapter, so we'll take little by little. Fine. Okay, so we'll start the thing. Once again, thank you, Hare Krishna. So before we start, let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Okay. Let us. Let us start our prayers to the Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Nanakashalakaya Chakshumitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasta Shri Rupam Sagarajata Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamsta He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitam Nam Pavnebho Vaishnavo Namo Namaha Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascha Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Please take care of your background noise. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we were doing, what was the thing? Can you remember in the chapter 1? So that was to set the scene for this Bhagavad Gita. So we saw the what was the reaction of Duryodhana and then of the reaction of Arjuna. Okay, Arjuna was overwhelmed with compassion. So what was the reasons he gave for not to fight? Anyone remember? Can put in the chat. So he was overwhelmed with compassion by seeing all his kinsmen. There were 5 generations, right? Grandfathers, teachers, and some friends, grandsons, well-wishers, everyone. And he decided not to fight. Then he gave some more reasons for not to fight, right? Oh, I think I have come to somewhere else. I think, just to give me a second, I think I've opened a different. So it was the preparations for Arjuna's doubts. And what was the reasons for not wishing to fight? It was compassion. He was compassion to all the soldiers and all his kinsmen and all there, how to fight, how to kill them. They were there, his 5 generations. So we're all his kinsmen, we're all his relatives, and all his friends over there, right? And he supported his decision, saying that if I fight, I do not see if I'll be happy. The result of this battle will not lead to my happiness. There won't be any enjoyment. So why should I fight at all? And then he continues to say that there will be sinful reactions and fearful of sinful. Why? Because if I fight, there will be, because of killing my own kinsmen, family members, I should be the one to give protection. But as per the Dharmashastra, I'll be punished if I kill my own family members. So he was fear of sinful reactions. Real good. And then he said, because this battle will not be good to the society, because the elders would have been died and there won't be any protection for the women and the children. So the environment, so there'll be problems in the society. So he was briefly explained all his reasons, the destruction of family tradition and all that. Now in this chapter, he continues with this thing about his decision. Finally, he comes to an indecision. He says, I cannot decide anymore whether to fight or to surrender to. And then he surrenders to Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna now reveals the transcendental knowledge. So this is what we saw in the last chapter. And now there will be 5 sessions where Arjuna further doubts in his surrender in the first 10 verses. And then 11 to 30, Krishna starts addressing all the arguments, compassion, sinful reactions, enjoyment, and the family tradition. And then finally it says how to fight, become fixed in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So after Arjuna continues to express his doubts about fighting, he surrenders. So this chapter starts off with Sanjay. And now we look, and many people will ask, many people have this idea. Say, why is Krishna encouraging Arjuna to fight? Actually, if he's not at all a god, he should not encourage them to fight, isn't it? But when we look through this chapter 2, we'll come to a different perspective. Krishna is gives us a different outlook. How? From the absolute. So we are going to see that in chapter 2, right? And it's a very long chapter. Actually, chapter 1 set the scene, the whole thing. And that is a scene for us also. In our life, we'll have a lot of problems. And what are the things, and where we get into confusion about our duty and all that. And they say, Bhagavad Gita gives us answers to our problems. So it's like that. Actually, chapter 2 is an introduction. So Krishna gives all the answers in a row. He talks about all the yoga systems, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Then he talks about the Bhakti Yoga. But later in the other chapters, from 3 to 17, he will elaborate all the things again. Okay. So now, when Sanjaya concluded in the last chapter, that is in the page, he said, now Arjuna sat down in his head down after lamenting, Vishada. So you could have understand that Dhritarashtra's reaction would have been, okay, now Pandavas won't fight and Kauravas will win without doing anything. So he must have been very pleased in his reaction. But Sanjaya continues to say, seeing Arjuna being out of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of thing, Krishna spoke the following words, Madhusudana. Here he addresses Krishna as Madhusudana. So he understands that Krishna's name, but he's telling Madhusudana. That's why he's addressing Krishna as Madhusudana, because he's indirectly telling, don't be happy, Rajan. Though Arjuna appears to be demoralized, and Krishna sitting beside him can change his mind within a second. He is a very expert person. So there are certain important things to see in this purport. Okay. There are some things we can look at the purport, right? I'll just open the purport for you all. You can read. So here, Prabhupada writes something that material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Okay. See, when he concluded last chapter in the purport, Prabhupada writes, see, Arjuna is so soft-hearted and his compassion for his kinsman is so soft-hearted as a devotee. So, he is eligible to receive this transcendental knowledge. Okay, but now he is now giving us a different thing. He says, material compassion, lamentation and tears are all signs of ignorance. Okay, but compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. Actually, Arjuna wanted to kill the demon of misunderstanding. Compassion, no one knows where this is where is very importantly Krishna Prabhupada writes. No one knows where compassion should be applied. So here he compares the compassion. See, when the person is drowning and you are worried about his clothes and not about the person, and actually the person is drowning in the river, and one is from outside, he is only worried about the dress. So it is like that. What is Arjuna's compassion is? He is compassionate about the body, which is gross body. Okay, and he's not compassion is not for the soul. So it is like for the compassion is showing is for the material compassion. That is what here Prabhupada writes. The compassion should be applied properly. It should not be applied. So it's like this. It gives a thing. And here material compassion is not acceptable. If you show, a devotee will always show compassion for the people because they are ignorant. He wants them to give them real knowledge. He knows they are suffering. So they have true compassion, the devotees. That is because they have compassion towards the soul of the living entity. Here, the compassion which is the Arjuna is addressing is like the compassion for the dress of a drowning man. So it is senseless. Okay. Now, in this chapter, Prabhupada writes that it instructs us in self-realization by giving us an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul. So straight away, Krishna is going to start off with a confidential knowledge about the soul, material body, and the spirit is explained here. So then only realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is fixed in this conception of real self. Okay. So what we have to understand here is that the purport was very nice, where he says that material compassion, lamentation, tears are all signs of ignorance. They are showing as though the analogy was very good, saving the dress of a drowning man is the thing. But the true compassion it should be for yourself. And here, chapter 2 talks about self-realization. And that we are going to study the difference between soul and the material body. So Krishna explains this. Because why does Krishna start off with this jnana is, Arjuna was quoting a lot of Shastras. No, he says, as per Dhamma Shastra, it is wrong to kill my own family members. So he knew the Shastras, he knew the scriptures, but he had the wrong misunderstanding. He misunderstood proper thing, and he was showing compassion for the dress of a drowning man instead of the thing. So he says, my dear Arjuna, how come you have these impurities? They are not at all they're not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but himself. So here Krishna is saying, how come you are showing such a weak-heartedness? And it's not at all befitting as a Kshatriya. He's a Kshatriya, isn't it? And he knows the value of life. And that will not lead to higher planets. So, what is the best? See, actually, when anyone dies in front of Krishna, seeing Krishna when they die, they'll get many benefits spiritually. Because we saw, in chapter 8, Krishna says, if anyone remembers me at the final hour, they'll come to my abode. So here in this battle, everybody is seeing Krishna and they're dying. They're like, anyway, death has to come. And if they die in the battlefield, they'll get many more spiritual benefits. So Krishna is chastising Arjuna. How come you are talking like this? You will not get any benefit. I am standing next to you. How come you have fallen into Maya? Okay. But in the purport, see, till now in chapter 3, we introduced 3 personalities, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and Arjuna. Now in the purport, Prabhupada writes a very thing. He introduced the who? Krishna. Who is Krishna? Okay. Till now we saw, right, let me. Okay. So anybody can read this first paragraph. Hare Krishna. Anyone can volunteer. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in 3 phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, this conception of the absolute truth is explained thus.
So, okay, so what is here, it starts off with, because this verse starts with Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. In Mahabharata, Krishna will be addressed as Krishna only in Vasudeva, by Vasudeva. But when it came to Bhagavad Gita, the whole thing here, he refers to not as Lord Krishna, but he refers him to as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Okay? But here, Prabhupada elaborates, he's saying Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. So, he is referred as Bhagavan. In fact, there are 3 realizations. That is, we understand him as Brahman because he is the pervasing. No? His energy is pervasing everywhere. That's his energy. And we understand him as Brahman. And next, once we start understanding and we go deeper into it, then next stage we understand him as a Paramatma, who resides in all the living entities, localized as well. And the next realization, advanced realization, is Bhagavan, and he is the Supreme Person. So then, in the purport, Prabhupada gives a nice analogy about the sun. Like, when you look at the sunshine, first you understand the sun as a sunshine. It gives us light, it gives us heat, and that is the realization, understanding of the sun as by its energy. We understand him as Brahman. Okay. But once you look up and see, it's a round, it's a planet, it's standing there in place, right? So once you take that, once you understand the sun is like that, that is the next step of understanding the sun. Then one more deeper when you go, there is a controller of the sun, that is the sun god. Likewise, these are the 3 steps of realizing the God. So there are 3 different aspects. Okay, these are the 3 phases of understanding of the knower of absolute. So in the purport, Prabhupada gives a good introduction to the Bhagavan feature. And then he says, this word Bhagavan is explained by Parashuram Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, as one who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Is called. And why renunciation? He's there, but he's not. He's there, but he's not involved. He has got people to take care of it. Okay, he's called Bhagavan. So there are many people who are rich, or they'll be powerful, or thing, but they cannot possess everything. So here only Bhagavan can have all these 6 features, opulences. Okay, so that's what is the thing we have to write here.
Mataji, I have a doubt here.
Yes, Mataji.
When you're talking about the 6 opulences, you're talking about all renunciation. What exactly is all renunciation?
Renunciation is there, but is not involved in it. No, like a vairagya. Is there, it does, but is not. But is not involved in everything, isn't it, Mataji?
Okay.
It's like a vairagya. It's not involved completely, right? Is there controlling the whole thing, but just out like that. Like the sun, you feel the heat, the thing, but the sun is not involved directly with us, isn't it, Mataji? Only we get the energy, we get the thing, but sun is still there,
right,
as it is, isn't it? It is not affected by us,
yeah,
right? So like that, Bhagavan is there. This renunciation is there. So he is not affected. He's not affected by the Maya, by the material. He controls it. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So, but this is what he says, all riches, everything. That is the personality possesses everything. That's the definition given by Parasramuni. Okay. And no living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Okay. Even Narayana has got only, I think, 64 is Krishna and 60%, 60 opulences is from Narayana. And 55 and 50 is, that's how it goes in Bhagavatam. Okay. So, like that. Then, so this is the thing. So here, so that is, I mean, this is where elaborately the purport is given by Prabhupada to give us an introduction to Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Okay. And here Krishna is not chastising Arjuna directly. He says, why are you coming and acting like this? I mean, you know you have to come to fight, and now you are coming and giving me so many reasons. He's not telling him that. He's telling, why are you so weak? Oh, son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, or chastiser of the enemy. He says, it's not becoming you. You should stand up and fight. Now Arjuna is saying, oh, killer of enemies, oh, killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle? And like Bhishma, Dev and Drona, who are worthy of worship. So now Arjuna is going further. He says, it's not that, but there are, who are there in front of me? We have Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya. Bhishma Dev is great grandfather, and I have to show my respect, and they are the ones there, and my guru is there, and they are worthy of my worship, and how you can expect me to fight? So he is giving a thing. And then he continues to say, it's better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything they enjoy will be painful. So now he is so remorse because, and actually Krishna had taken this chariot right in front of them. He knows what he's doing and he's putting him into dilemma, right? Into his this. Now do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them? So now he is expressing his indecision. Okay, now he doesn't know what is this. So what does he do when he's getting into the indecision? He says, now I'm confused about my duty. I don't know what to do. So I'm now your disciple soul surrendering unto you. Please instruct me. So he says, please instruct me. What am I supposed to do? Okay. So this is a nice verse to read. Hare Krishna. Anybody can read? Arpanya dosha.
Mataji, may I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji. Karpanya doso pahata svabhava vichami tvam dharma samudachita yakshreya nishchitam bruhitam me yasyastyam am sadimam tvam prapannam.
Thank you, Mataji. So here he says, Karpanya dosha pasvabhava prachami tvam dharma samudachita. So now he is confused about his duty. What is his duties? So he is telling me, tell me what is good for me. Shreyan means what is good for me. Please tell me. Nishchitam brohitam me. Please tell me what is good for me. And now how he is telling him, I have surrendered to you as a disciple. I'm Tam Prapanna. So I have surrendered to you as I'm a Sishya and you're my Guru. Please tell me. Bruhutam me. That means what is good for me. He doesn't tell him what is my duty. He's telling what is good for me. That you tell me. Tell me. So, and just way the complete system is here Prabhupada says, our material world here, it is a source of perplexity for everyone. That is this type of indecision, decision making. We do take decisions every day. I mean, day to day, even what to cook, what to do. I mean, small decisions we are taking, right? Where all the day, all the time we take day-to-day activities, we do take. And there are major ones also. So, here Krishna Prabhupada starts off saying that this material activities, whatever we are always as a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, we have to have guidance, proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. Okay. So all Vedic literatures advise us to approach a spiritual master to get free from perspective of life which happen without our desire, right? So material perplexities, whatever we get, this problems or the confusions we get in what to do, how to go forward and all that, why these things has happened to us. I mean, we don't go search for problems, but problems will come in our way life, okay, in everyday life. And all of us, it's not only one, everybody. And there are 4 kinds of things. We have birth, old age, diseases, and the things. So we have that, all the 4 miseries we have. And everyone is not spared. I mean, each one of us is not spared, but all of us feel that. So these come without our desire. We don't want it, but still it comes. We might have had a very good, healthy life, but finally you realize you have a cancer or some disease, and you don't know how it has happened. So you'll think, how does it? I've never smoked in life, but still I've got a lung cancer. So these are the things perpetually it comes. So it's like forest fire, which ablazes without being set up. So this material perplexity will everybody faces. So here, that's what here the Prabhupada writes, that a person does not solve, he is a miserly person who does not solve problems of life as a human and keeps the words like things. So if he doesn't understand the science of self-realization, he's a miserly man. If he doesn't understand the real problem of his life, and he just behaves like the cats and dogs, then this human life which he has got, it's a waste. Okay, so, and here Prabhupada writes the Kripanas is miserly because he was overly affectionate for his family. So that Arjuna could understand. That is being intelligent, and Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them was the cause for his perplexity. So he could understand that was what was made him perplexed and bewildered, and he couldn't go forward, and he knew that was his weakness. So that's why he turns to us, Krishna, and says, I am your desire. Now he's changing the relationship. Till then he was acting like a friend, to Krishna, and they were discussing and they were having this talk where he was lamenting. But now his whole mood has changed, his attitude has changed. He says, I'm your student. So now the talk is going to be very serious. It's no more like a friendly talk. So now he's asking Krishna, now you're my guru, you're my spiritual master. Now you tell me what I'm to do, what is good for me, what is best for me. You tell me how to go forward. So Krishna now takes the role of till now, when the last chapter, when all that Arjuna was lamenting, Krishna was very silent. He never opened his mouth. Only in the end, after listening to the whole thing, and now when Arjuna says, please tell me what to do. So now Krishna can understand that Arjuna is ready to listen. Okay, now he can listen to whatever I can say. Otherwise, if he had interpreted disturbed in the middle, he was not in the mood to listen. He was just in his mode of lamentation. He was still in that worrying and thinking, why I'm doing, what is this, what is confusion. So in that state, he was not in the mood to receive any instruction. So when he surrendered to Krishna, so that was the time when he could show that he is prepared to listen to the instructions. So now he's telling to Krishna, please tell me what I'm to do. You're my guru. I am your disciple. Tell me what is. So this is something which we should also understand. So there will be some people in our life, whose words will be inspiring to us. Whom do we actually go to, when we are in trouble, or we want, there might be a friend or someone who is not involved, you go to him. His words will be inspiring to us. So like that, so it is very important to have such people in our life, right? So that's what we understand. So here is Arjuna now is turning towards Krishna, saying, "You are my original master. Please tell me what is it." Okay. And then in the next verse, I think, no, sorry. So, Karpanya dosha, by nature, material activity is a source of perplexity. Whether you like it or not, everyone will have their own quota of miseries and happiness and sufferings. And only for if you don't, if you are not interested in a self-realization, if you are not intelligent, you should turn towards. Otherwise, you are like a miser person. That's what here. It's like you are overly affectionate to family. That means you are a miser. If you are intelligent like a Brahmana, then you will look towards self-realization, what to do. So Krishna is the original spiritual master who can help us in this such a situation. Okay, now in this verse from 11 to 30, Krishna is going to give him the thing. Because he started talking about the scriptures, now Supreme God said, is chastising. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So, Bhagavan Uvacha, you are talking like a Pandita. So, the Pandita means one who is knowledgeable. Okay? But what knowledge he is having, that is not proper. So, that's what he's saying. You are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Okay. So the knowledge means we need to know what is matter and what is spirit and who is the controller of both. So this knowledge only can remove our confusion or the sadness or the despair. Okay. So if this knowledge, so we should try to make them understand intellectually. It's not that just say, no, you fight, you come here to fight and you are also trained for it. You go ahead and fight. You can't just tell him, you have to answer him properly because you have to give him because the way the reasons Arjuna gave, you should also give him answers properly, isn't it? So he's telling, why are you lamenting? You talk like a Pandita, but you are not a Pandita. If he is a Pandita means, then he will never lament for the living nor for the dead. Why? That Krishna explains. Because the learned man, he is not a fool. He knows what is matter, what he can differentiate between matter and spirit. That's what is the learned man. That is the true knowledge. Okay? And he can easily see where the soul, it is eternal, and where the body, it is temporal. So, whatever you're killing or fighting with, it's only with the body, but the soul, it is not. So the one who knows the difference between the body and the soul is a Pandita. So why do not lament for the body, whether it is dead or alive? Body is born and destined to vanquish. Therefore, body is not as important as the soul. So Krishna is telling that. So this is the reason why he is telling you, as a Pandita, you're talking, but you're not a true Pandita. If he's a true wise man, a learned man, knows this difference. But you talk big thing, you're not talking properly from the scriptures. You don't have the true knowledge. So, and he's giving that. Okay? So, never was the time when I didn't exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us see. So, he's telling everybody were there before also, and they will be now, and they will also be tomorrow in the future also, and you'll also be there. So, now that means there was never the time. So everyone were there and now they will die, okay. But they will take another body and think. So likewise, Bhishmadev, Dronachari, they will give up this body and they will take another body. Why do you worry too? Why are you thinking about it? And then he continues to say, Dehino asmin yata dehe, kaumaram yauvanam chara, tata dehantra prakti, dhiras tatra namayat. So now he gives the knowledge of the soul. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from void, you have been a baby, then you became a boy, then a teenager, then a man, then you remain like that, then slowly you start becoming old, and then finally you die, and again take a birth. So passes in the body. The soul is there all the time. It's only the body just changed from the baby form to a boy form, then teenage form, then man, and then it goes. So the body has changed from boyhood to youth and to old age. Then similarly, it passes to another body at death. So a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. That is, the dhira is a sober person. He will not be perturbed by this change. Why are you worried? So rather you should rejoice, because Bhishmadev Dronacharya will shed this body and take another one. Why you need to lament about that? Actually, you should rejoice that they are giving up this body and taking another one which has more energy. So dhira is defined here as one who has got perfect knowledge about soul, body, and control of. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you should be happy that these noble souls are getting new, fresh bodies. But Arjuna will say, I'm still attached to this body. I can't see them dying. That's what happens, isn't it? We still can't accept that they are going to die before us, right? Before it. So it is, he'll say, it's difficult to rejoice when I see them die and have a different body, because he is attached to this body form. Yes, he's got that. So then, so for that, Krishna is telling, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course is like appearance disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O son of Partha, one must learn to tolerate them without distress. So this is the first instruction Krishna is giving to us. He says we have to tolerate. Why we have to tolerate without being distressed? These things come like the winter season, summer seasons come. So like that, we will get the happiness and distress will come. Happiness will stay for some time and it will go away. The distress will come and it will stay for some time and it will go away. Like that. It will keep coming and going. But we have to learn to tolerate. And how we have to tolerate? Why? Because like the sense, matra sound. Because of the sense sparsha. We are thing. Like, sound will touch the eardrum. Then there is a touch by the sound, no? So it leads to hearing, right? And when we see something, that scene will touch our eyes and we can perceive the sense of sight. Like that, our senses are always in touch with the sense objects. Okay? Because of the sense, we are always continuously in touch with the sense objects. We'll always have these interactions. We'll always have the nice music coming, or we hear some harsh music, or we'll feel unhappy, or we hear something, or we touch, because our senses are always in touch with the sense objects. And these sense objects will never go. So we will get our happiness and distress will always be there with us, because the sense objects are not ours. Our senses are there with us, but sense objects is not in our control. No, what's happening outside is not in our control. So that way, what comes in your way or not. So we are like, passengers in a train. No, when you go in a train, we have no control who our co-passengers would be. So we have no choice. So what sense objects you like today may not like it tomorrow. Like, you might like cold water in summer, but you may not like it in winter, right? Same way, there's some things which you like today may not like it tomorrow. Same way with our sense thing. So in spite of conditions around you, you still have to do what you should do and not give lame excuses. That's what Krishna is saying. Whatever happens, whatever the thing, we should continue to do our duty and not lament. Because we have to learn to tolerate. We have to learn to tolerate and we accept the things. We can't say I'll accept only happiness and not distress. Everything will come. So we have to accept the situations and we'll have to tolerate them. But some people know when they get happiness, they'll be so excited and think, but when they get a distress, they are going to deep depression. They think that just when happiness comes, if you're non-tolerant, if you're calm, whether it's happiness or distress, then if you accept it, then you'll be able to accept the suffering also in the same way. So Krishna says you have to learn to take them with a pinch of salt. And now he gives reason in the next verse why we have to tolerate, why we have to learn to tolerate. So next, he told us to tolerate, right? Now he's telling in the next verse why. Oh, best among Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So, if you want to be eligible for liberation from this material world, from this cycle of birth and death, then we should learn to not to be disturbed by happiness and distress. So, if you want to get entangled into this material world, karma bandha, then you will not be able to think. So, if you are able to accept both, then you are not get disturbed by them, then you are eligible for liberation. So, now he told us to learn to tolerate, and he's telling us why, what is the benefit. Okay. So, and also he gives references, because even the seers of the truth, the sages, they have concluded this material body is temporary and the soul, there's no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of it. So he is telling, it's not only me who's telling you, even the seers and the scriptures are also telling the same. And that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable. So what is that soul? It is a consciousness. When you see a dead body, what we see, the person has passed away. Who has passed away? The soul, right? So, and if the dead body has got all the matter is the same as the body we have, but unless the soul is there, it is not active. So now he's telling the nature of the soul. He continues to say in the coming verses. What is the nature? That is, you can, and how do you perceive the soul? It is by the consciousness we feel. Otherwise, the body is there, right? So, and then he gives the characteristics of this. The material body of this entirety is sure to come to an end, therefore fine. So whatever happens, the body will come to an end, okay? Gross body. But the soul will always be. So now he's talking about the process of transmigration, right? Neither who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not nor is slain. So you cannot, nobody is getting killed. Why you think you kill someone, or the someone thinks he is killed, then no, because the soul cannot be killed. Only the body will perish, and they'll take another body. Okay? And for the soul, there is neither birth nor death. Jayate mriyate nava kadacha. There is neither birth nor death at any time. And yam bhutva bhavitavana bhuvya. Yes, not come into being, does not come into being, will not. That means he was eternal. The soul is eternal. It is there. It's only the body which has taken. It is perishable. And that too, when it comes to this material world, it has to take up a material body. Okay? So, the thing. And then, is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and preeminent. Who is that? That's a soul. Okay. He is neither slain, nor will the body be slain. So, anyati anyamane sariri. Only the body is subjected to 6 kinds of transformations, whereas the soul, it is not. So, that's why this is. How can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and will kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So, now Arjuna keeps repeating. He's saying, and he's asked to give the characteristics of the soul, isn't it? When he says that, and so you're not any cause to think. As a person puts on new garments, same way we put on new garments, we take on new body when the old one becomes useless. Okay. When this body becomes old and useless, then you shed that body and take a new body. So that's what Vamshani Jirnani Yatavayaha Navani Granati Naro Prani Tata Sharirani Vihaya Jirnani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. So he says it's like taking. And then Arjuna is a Kshatriya, isn't it? He has got powerful weapons, right? And he might think, no, I can kill with my weapons which I've got from Lord Shiva and from all that. Or that, Krishna is answering. Soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon. nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor with the wind. So nainam chindante shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam preti. So Krishna cannot, you cannot. So what has happened? What is the characteristics? Is eternal as the same, unbreakable, insoluble, neither burnt nor dried, everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable. So these are the characteristics of this. Okay. Very good. So it is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. You can't see it. It is there, but you cannot see it. And it's inconceivable because it's immortal and immutable. Okay? Hare Krishna. So he gives us some more explanations. Yes. So unbreakable, neither born, not this all we saw. Eternal, inconceivable. He gives more characteristics. And you think that the soul will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason. So now he gave all those reasons, right? In this verse, he says, okay, if you think the soul is, you die, then there is no rebirth. Okay, you think like that. Then why are you lamenting? If there's no rebirth, that means there's no sin, no sinful reactions and all that. There's no rebirth, no. So why are you lamenting? You just fight. So, Krishna is actually answering to him from all aspects. He says, if you think that the soul will always be born and die forever, you will still have no reason to lament. And one who thinks he takes his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So now he continues to say, all created beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in the interim state, and unmanifest. So what do you mean by that is, like there are two kinds of philosophers. One is who do not believe in existence of soul. They are atheists, okay? And there are who believe in existence of soul. So what do the atheists think? That we have come to the material world by accident. So here Krishna says, before creation, we were unmanifested stage. Actually, we were not there. We were in the womb of the Lord Vishnu. Okay, when we get this material world gets created, then we get manifested. Okay, that means we come like the building. When it is destroyed, it is unmanifested. Once you make the building, it's in the building form, the manifested form. So, and how it is manifested by it's ether, air, water. We have all this gross body and the many characters. So we have that. So it is manifested, it will get, and again it gets annihilated. So you come into this material world, then after getting, then once you die, you go back to unmanifested stage. So you go into this cycle. So he says, what is there to lament? So, but if you exist in the soul, then soul is there, soul is not being killed, it is still the eternal, only the body is killed. So he is telling birth and death will cycle thing. And why? And finally concludes saying it is amazing because nobody can understand that soul, which is so tiny. It can be in an ant, and it also can be in the body of a tree, and it can be in the non-matters, and it can be in everything. So stand up and fight. And it is amazing. Some people cannot understand. Some people can understand, thinking it is amazing, and describe the soul is amazing. So this is what finally says. Soul, the same size. The size is same, and it is amazing. And it can be in an ant, it can be in a tree, it can be in an elephant, it can be in the matter, and it can be in the human being. So, and it is 1/10,000 tip of a hair of a hair. So it is very small and it is amazing. So he gave us a full description of what the soul is. So finally, he's telling Krishna and Arjuna, now you stand up and fight. Oh, descendant of he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So, okay. But doesn't mean that because you cannot kill that you can have violence. Unnecessary violence is not justified. Like, but a judge, he will give a life sentence because he has done committed some sin. So he has to be punished. So he has to give. But he's not giving death sentence because of his personal thing. He has to give him because of his thing. So the judgment which he gives the violence is not. Same way, the doctors, when they cut the body, it's not because they want to kill the patient. They have to cure the patient. So they are allowed to kill. So unnecessary violence is not justified. There are certain reasons where sometimes the capital punishment has to be given. Sometimes you have to do that. So that is something here. So judge is awarding capital punishment or surgeon punishment is permitted because of the reason why they are doing it. But unnecessary violence is not justified. So here Krishna is saying, this soul is the thing. So you get up and fight. Okay? This is the why you have to be compassionate here. Your compassion is misplaced. Okay, with this I will stop. Okay. Vancha kalpatra abhyasta Krishna. Patitam na padnebo Vaishnavo namo. Hare Krishna. So I will stop.